I know their faces. Shadows linger in tight, dark places. They won't be okay. No, they can't walk away. 'Cause I won't let them leave today.
This is the 15th kidnapping we've had in just a week. No clues. The only witnesses we've had claimed to have just seen a clown. I think that our perpetrator just made their first mistake. I'm gonna take this to Misty at the lab.
What do you have for me, sweetie?
You're looking beautiful as ever, honey cub. Here's your half and half tea. And I've got some evidence I need you to do your magic on. I need to know everything you can find out about this button.
Yes, that's the clue we needed. I better let Paul know.
What do you have for me, hun?
First, I found a fingerprint, but there's no match in the database. But once we find a suspect, we can compare them. Second, I found that the button has die number 13. Here's the piece of the puzzle that you're going to love. When I looked at the button through the microscope, I found a serial number. This button was bought at Sandra's costume affair.
Welcome to Sandra's Costume Affair. How may I help you?
What can you tell me about this button?
Yes, that button comes from a clown costume we sold last week. I believe it was Wednesday at 2:45 p.m.
I would like to take a look at your security footage, please. Hey, beautiful. Here's you some chicken fried rice, no onions, just the way you like it. When you have time, I need you to do a facial recognition on this security footage.
Her name's Jane Gacy, and she lives at 1428 Elm Street. Now catch the bad gal, and later tonight I'll work my magic on you.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to an attorney. If you can't afford an attorney, one will be provided. Okay, guys, take her too. Holding, I'm going to search the house and see if we can find our kidnapping victims. You can come out. I'm with the police. She's been arrested.
Your Honor, I propose no bail. This suspect is a danger to society. The police found 15 people in her crawl space, nearly starved to death, and evidence of other victims that had already starved to death. Not only that, she had the audacity to get up on a stage and sing about her crimes.
Your Honor, my client is not a flight risk. She has ties to the community. She's always helping the poor, elderly, and disabled. Also, she has a psychiatrist who keeps an eye on her. We plan to use a diminished capacity defense.
Your Honor, the defense is trying to have their cake and eat it too. If she has diminished capacity, how is she able to help the poor elderly and disabled? If she's able to help the poor elderly and disabled, how does she have diminished capacity? Also, where was her psychiatrist when she committed these crimes?
Al is set at $20,000.
Your job is to talk to the psychiatrist and find out why she is in counseling. Also look and see if she's kidnapped in any other city. We have to disprove her diminished capacity.
Anything that you need, boss.
Welcome to the offices of Doctors Hamlin. Hamlin White? I'm Dr. Jimmy White. How can I help you today?
It's nice to meet you, Doctor. White, I'm Walter McGill. My law firm is prosecuting Jane Gacy. I understand she is a patient of yours. Is there anything you can tell me that will help our case?
As you well know, I can't tell you anything about Mrs. Gacy's diagnoses because that would break doctor-patient confidentiality. What I can tell you is that you should read the June 18th, 2001 edition of the Daily Journal.
Thank you for your time, Doctor. White. I went to the library and did some research. It turns out that Jane Gacy was kidnapped as a child, so I'm assuming that is why she is seeing a psychiatrist. I also looked for kidnappings with the same MO. It turns out that every town that Jane has lived in has had people gone missing. It doesn't prove that she did it, but a clown was seen at the scenes of the crime. She's really clever, but I think that the reason she got caught this time is because she's escalating. This is the most people in the shortest time that's been kidnapped.
Good job, Walter. I really appreciate all the hard work you put into every case. I call to the stand officer Paul Cross. Officer Cross, in your own words, can you tell the court how your investigation led you to suspecting the defendant of the crimes?
Yes, I can. At the scene of the latest kidnapping, I found a button which I sent to the lab. The lab tech found a serial number on the button. The serial number let us know that the button fell off a clown suit, bought at Sandra's costume affair. After reviewing security footage, we went to the defendant's residence and arrested her, and I searched the house and found her victims in a crawl space in her residence.
No further questions for this witness.
Officer Cross, is it true that you are married to the lab tech?
Yes, the lab tech. Misty is my beautiful wife, but that doesn't affect my judgment during investigations.
Isn't that convenient? The lead officer and the lab tech working together to get the results they want?
Objection. The defense is badgering the witness.
Objection sustained.
Officer Cross, did you look for any other suspects, or did you just focus all of your attention to my client?
After I found the kidnapping victims and the bones in your client's crawl space, I didn't see the need to look for other suspects.
I'm sure you didn't feel the need to. You was in such a hurry to solve this case and make kissy face with the lab tech that you didn't even research the history of the house. Did you know that the previous owner of the house was a child murderer? No further questions for this witness.
I call to the stand Monica Green. Mrs. Green, in your own words, can you tell me what happened on the night in question?
Yes, I was coming home from a party. It was late and I was in a hurry, so I decided to take a shortcut through the alley. That's when I saw someone holding a hammer. I was hit in the head, and when I woke up, I was in a cramped room with a bunch of people that looked like they had not eaten in days. I thought I was going to be there until I died. I'll always be thankful for Officer Cross for saving me.
No further questions for this witness.
Mrs. Green, can you say with 100% certainty that it was my client who kidnapped you?
No, I can't. Like I said, it was late and dark out, so all I saw was the hammer. The person's face was in the shadows.
No further questions for this witness.
The prosecution rests your honor.
I call to the stand Dr. Jimmy White. Dr. White, why is my client seeing you on a regular basis?
When Mrs. Gacy was a young child, she was kidnapped, and it traumatized her. I have spent all the years since trying to help her get over the trauma.
Why would someone who was traumatized by a kidnapping as a child grow up to kidnap other people?
When people experience a traumatic experience, they lose their control. They feel weak and helpless. By making others experience the same trauma, they take their strength and control back.
If you've been treating her for years, why didn't your treatment prevent her from kidnapping people?
Our bodies builds up tolerance to medications. A certain medication might work for a while until our body gets used to it. Then you have to switch the medication. It's like a drug addict. They try one drug and they are satisfied with the high. But after a while, the high isn't satisfying anymore, so they start using more and more potent drugs, trying to find a satisfying high.
No further questions for this witness, Your Honor.
Dr. White, as Mrs. Gacy's psychiatrist, wouldn't you notice the signs of her medication needing to be changed?
Yes, of course. In fact, just last week I noticed something odd about her behavior and recommended she start seeing me every day.
Earlier in your testimony, you said that people who have had traumatizing experiences put others through trauma so they can get their strength and control back. If Mrs. Gacy was trying to get recognition, why did she hide herself as a clown when she committed her crimes?
It's not about getting recognition for her crimes. It's about trying to satisfy her brain circuits. She's trying to bring back the innocence she had before she became a victim of kidnapping.
No further questions for this witness, Your Honor.
The defense calls Mrs. Jane Gacy to the stand. Mrs. Gacy, will you explain to the court what you went through when you were kidnapped?
Yes, I was sleeping in my bed when I was woken up by someone covering my mouth. I couldn't breathe. He told me that he would uncover my mouth, but if I screamed or tried to get away, he would kill my parents. I followed his orders to protect my parents. I lived in his house for 2 years. I never tried to escape because I was scared for my parents. One day he brought a girl younger than me home with him. Something inside of me told me that my time with him was drawing to a close, and he would murder me. So the next day, I found a butcher knife and killed him.
What was your emotional state like after you killed your kidnapper?
Even though I knew he was dead, I kept on seeing him everywhere. I was always scared he was going to kidnap me again. It was like being in a horror movie every single day.
How did you manage those feelings of fear?
At first, I couldn't handle them. Then I met Dr. White. He prescribed me some medication and gave me tips to help when fear came back. That's why I started singing. Dr. White said, being creative helps stop the fear. Then every time the medication stopped working and caused me to black out, he was there to change my treatment. When I was having writer's block, he even helped me buy the house I'm living in now. I don't know what I would do without Dr. White.
No further questions for this witness, Your Honor.
You mentioned that Dr. White helped you with your feelings of fear. How did you feel when you kidnapped all those people?
That's the thing. I know that you found all those poor people in my crawl space, and this is going to be hard to believe. but I don't remember kidnapping them. I guess that I did it when my medication stopped working and I blacked out.
You claim that you don't remember kidnapping people and putting them in your crawl space, but your newest hit song is called Friends in Cross Spaces. How did the idea of that song come into your mind?
One day, after a really great session with Dr. White, I came home and just started writing, and the words just seemed to write themselves. It was like they were coming from a deep down subconscious part of my brain.
I believe that you are trying to fool this court. You kidnapped those people, stuffed them into your crawl space, starved them, and you enjoyed it so much you wrote a song about it. You may have fooled some people, but you don't fool me.
Objection. He's badgering the witness, Your Honor.
Withdrawn. No further questions for this witness.
The defense rests, Your Honor.
I need to tell you something. Today, I watched Mrs. Gacy's testimony. When I was in the police academy, I took a lot of classes about body language and how to tell when a suspect is lying. Today, when I watched Mrs. Gacy's testimony, I noticed that she was telling the truth when she said she didn't remember kidnapping her victims.
I guess that she does suffer from diminished capacity. Man, I feel bad for that jab I threw at her. I'll talk to the DA about taking a plea deal.
That's not what I'm here for. Last night I did some research on Dr. White. His specialty is hypnosis. Every one of his patients has been convicted of crimes, mostly robbery until Mrs. Gacy. Every time someone went missing, Mrs. Gacy had an appointment with Dr. White. Every missing person has been wealthy. Also, Dr. White is spending more than he makes, and it's catching up to him. Last week, he got a notice that if he doesn't finish paying for his mansion, he's going to have to move out.
Looks like we have a criminal doctor on our hands. Every time he wants extra income, he hypnotizes his patients to do robbery for him. One day, a simple robbery isn't enough to satisfy his greed, so he hypnotizes Mrs. Gacy to kidnap wealthy people, force them to give up their money, and then put them into a crawl space to starve to death. But how do we prove it?
I have a plan to prove it, but I'm going to need your help.
Nice to meet you again, Counselor. Welcome to the offices of Hamlin, and White. How may I help you?
I came here to tell you that I've got you all figured out after Mrs. Gacy's testimony today. You hypnotized her to kidnap wealthy people so you could get their money. You've been spending more money than you make for years, and it's finally catching up to you. You're in jeopardy of losing everything. That's why you advised Mrs. Gacy to start seeing you every day. You wanted her to kidnap more and more wealthy people to get yourself out of debt. You took advantage of a vulnerable patient who trusted you. I'm going to make sure that you stay in prison for a really long time.
You impress me, Counselor. You're not the hillbilly inbred country bumpkin I thought you were. You actually have intelligence. You have me dead to rights. There's nothing I can do to save myself. I might as well give up. Or I could do what I always do when someone is smart enough to catch up to my scheme. You're getting sleepy, very sleepy, and now you're asleep. You're going to forget about all the crimes I committed.
I'm going to forget about all the crimes you committed.
After I snap my fingers, you are going to thank me for my time. After our talk, you realize that Mrs. Gacy does have diminished capacity, and her sentence will show that.
I am going to thank you for your time. After our talk, I realize that Mrs. Gacy does have diminished capacity, and her sentence will show that.
Freeze, you're under arrest. Cuff him, boys.
Good job, Officer Cross. I'll see you at the party tonight.
I love you, brother.
Happy birthday, Uncle Keith.
Thanks, Polly. Sorry for that jab in court.
That's okay. You was just doing your best to help your client.
Here comes the cake, everyone.
Hey, guess what, brother? You can finally have your cake and eat it too.